talk about these things now. You know, management is defined as identified as the person or the persons who have the authority to make final decisions. There's an expectation that they will set up job descriptions for everybody that works with them or for them and set up a structure. They measure and monitor performance, and they ensure that the needs of personnel are met by ensuring that there is resources that they need are available, that there's continuing communication and information and education, and that they are working in a safe and clean environment. And they establish policy. Management has the job of making sure that the organization is working right and is working under policy. So what's a policy? A policy is said to be a clear statement that sets a mission, the vision, and the expectation for people, activity, and performance in the organization, in this situation, in the laboratory. And here are some examples. Here are some examples of policies. In our laboratory, we ensure reliability by regular quality control. Or here's another one. We ensure reliability by always monitoring for error. Or we create documents to ensure that consistent performance is our normal way of activity. These are large statements, but they are general statements and they are truths. We believe in quality control, and therefore we think that all of our activities should be done and surrounded by quality control. A process is a collection of activities that follow from the policy. For example, if we said we ensure reliability by monitoring for error, then the processes that would fall from that are: we ensure reliability by use of quality indicators, or we use internal audits, or we use proficiency testing or accreditation or other external assessments as our way for monitoring for error. And sometimes we use preventive actions. So all of these different processes fit under the policy of monitoring for error. So this is how we monitor for error, by using these processes. Procedures go one step further. A procedure is an instruction. And for example, we might say that we perform internal audits as our way of monitoring for error. So we have a number of instruction sheets on how to perform an internal audit. We might have one which is called planning for internal audits, setting the date and the location for the audit. And you would read that and it would tell you specifically how you would set the date and how you would set the section that is going to be audited. And then there'd be another one, planning for an internal audit, creating the checklist. So this document would be very specific about what are the things that we're going to check in the internal audit, how would we create them into a checklist, and how we would have that printed out and make it available. You might have another one that says performing an audit, engaging staff. And again, it would give you the instruction on when you're going to do the audit, who do you talk to, how do you ask them the questions, and so forth. So we started with a policy that said that we believe that we should monitor for error. And then we set a process in place that said one of the ways that we monitor for error is using internal audits. And then the third thing, we set these procedures, these instructions that said this is how we actually do the internal audit. And if you think of these things, you can think of them as a triangle or as a list. I like to think of them as a tree. The roots, the nourishment, the things that make quality grow are the policies that are set by management. Management sets a belief in something that should last a long time in the organization, in the laboratory. How we implement that policy is through processes. And how we make the processes work is we have a series of procedures, and each one of those is documented. So the quality process is one that starts from a policy written by management and works its way through these three steps. Well, procedures with instructions sometimes are called standard operating procedures. And one of the things about these documents is that they change regularly over time. This week we have a procedure that says you should use the computer which is on the bench. And then we say, well, no, we used to think that was a good idea. Actually, we want to change that so that we will do all of our procedures on video. So now you need people to see the document and say, oh, this one says use the computer, but we know this one is obsolete. We'll put it away, and we will use the one that says video. So the question is, how do you know which is the obsolete one and which is the new one? And that is through a process called document control. Every document that's written in a quality system contains as a minimum a title, the date that it was created, and which version it is of the document. So you might say that this document is called Planning for the Internal Audit, Setting a Date and Section. And we created this in June 2012. And this one is maybe the third version of this document that's been created. So this way everybody knows they shouldn't be working with the first version, they shouldn't be working with the second version. In fact, they probably should have been thrown out, and the one that they should be using is the third version, and if they're not using that, they probably are using the wrong document. So we could continue on along this line, but here's what I would like you to remember. Quality is everybody's job. Everybody in an organization, in a laboratory, needs to be engaged. But management has the responsibility of setting the program, ensuring that everybody understands, making sure that everybody is engaged, and management carries 80% of the responsibility. We can see the difference between laboratories that are run under quality and those that are run not under quality. And we know that being under quality is better. And that quality is defined as basically meeting needs. If the needs are being met in the laboratory of the staff and the people that are dependent upon the output, then that can be called a quality organization. And if they aren't, we say that they have opportunities for improvement. Deming created the core plan, do, study, act. You can look to ISO for documents, ISO 9001, ISO 17025, or ISO 15189. Think in terms of policies as overriding nourishing statements, processes, and procedures. If you have that under control, then you've got the essence of quality. And we can worry about the other details later. So with that, I apologize again for not being available in your class. If there are questions, you can get in touch with me at my email address, which you have on the handout. And I look forward to having contact with you again in the future. Many thanks and goodbye.